This is the story of 5 strangers picked to live in a house and have their lives videotaped, all to find out what happens when people stop being polite and start getting murdered. My Little Eye. If you haven't seen this one, it is the best horror movie you never saw. Reality shows are nearly unavoidable these days, but back in the 90s, they were still considered rare. Aside from MTV's The Real World and episodes of Cops, we hadn't been exposed to very much reality TV programming yet. And when word started leaking out about the development of TV shows like Big Brother and Survivor, they sounded odd, even a little twisted, and potentially dangerous.
You're too close, man. You're too close, man.
Big Brother was offering the chance to watch its contestants on 24/7 live stream. Survivor was taking its contestants out to isolated locations and leaving them to provide basic survival necessities for themselves. While the concept of Big Brother just seemed weird, the description of Survivor stirred up real concern that somebody could die or get severely hurt on the show. We know now that everything turned out just fine. Survivor has aired for over 40 seasons to date, and Big Brother has proven to be so popular that more than 60 countries have put together their own version of the show, resulting in over 500 seasons airing across the last few decades. It was when we were hearing the first rumblings of Big Brother and Survivor that writer David Hilton realizes these reality shows were presenting the perfect setup for psychological thrills. And there were also webcam streams online to provide more inspiration. A treatment was written that made its way into the hands of director Mark Evans, who had gotten his start on TV before moving into features with the drama House of America and the crime thriller Resurrection Man, neither of which were successful movies. So when Evans started developing the My Little Eye script with Hilton, he saw this as a make or break project. His directing career really depended on it. If this one failed, he might never direct another film. Before we continue with our video, here's a reminder to click the store tab on any of our JoBlo channels and browse our collection of the latest and freshest designs in our merch store. Go get you some. James Watkins was brought in to work on the screenplay alongside Hilton, and once a couple of drafts had been written, the project was pitched to Working Title, which is a British film studio that's a subsidiary of Universal. By then, it was summer of 2000. Big Brother and Survivor had both made it to American airwaves, and right around the time that Big Brother aired its first season finale, Working Title gave My Little Eye a green light. The screenplay, crafted by Hilton and Watkins, begins with an online ad. 5 contestants are being sought for a reality webcast. If they spend 6 months living in an isolated house that's full of cameras, they can win $1 million. There won't be any competitions or evictions. All they have to do is live in the house. A place so far out in the middle of nowhere that they'll be taken out there by helicopter. Occasionally, supplies like food, booze, and cigarettes will be delivered to the door, but they will also have to fend for themselves, setting snares for animals in the surrounding forest or hunting deer, stuff like that. And if anyone leaves during that 6-month period, everybody loses. No one will get a single dollar. We're shown clips of the audition tapes for the 5 characters we'll be following through the film. Stephen O'Reilly, who works primarily as a composer these days, was cast as Danny, the sensitive guy who's into woodworking and was raised by his grandfather. His main goal is to be able to take his grandpa on a nice vacation once he gets out of the house. Sean C.W. Johnson, who may be best known for his work in the Power Rangers franchise, was cast as Matt, the good-looking guy who says he's there for the challenge. Jennifer Skye was cast as Charlie, who's on a quest to become famous. Skye hasn't done much acting in the last 20 years, but at the time she had a following from her roles on TV shows Cleopatra 2525 and Xena, Warrior Princess. She's also known for having that short-lived marriage to Alex Band, the lead singer of the rock group The Calling, and the son of Full Moon founder Charles Band. And for genre fans, Chris Lemche may be the most well-known cast member among these contestants. Around this time, he was also in Final Destination 3.
You're dead!
And the Canadian werewolf classic Ginger Snaps. And if you want to spend a day just watching Lemche be awesome, Ginger Snaps, My Little Eye, and Final Destination 3 would make for a great triple feature. The character of Emma is the obvious horror movie final girl. She auditions to be on the webcast because she thinks it'll be a positive life experience, a way for her to learn about herself. How nice and wholesome. And of course, she's gonna make it to the end. As he was putting the movie together, Mark Evans was drawing inspiration from John Carpenter. There are hints of The Thing in this film's snowbound, isolated setting, and the fact that the characters feel increasingly paranoid. But he's also cited the works of Roman Polanski as a source of inspiration, and part of the reason why he cast Laura Regan as Emma is the fact that she had a Mia Farrow vibe to her. Evans told Jigsaw Lounge that Polanski's influence can be found in, quote, the atmosphere, because a lot of his stuff relates to a house becoming a sort of malign presence. Repulsion and Rosemary's Baby as well. He liked that Regan was reminiscent of Mia Farrow in Rosemary's Baby because, quote, that character was in the same sort of position of not knowing what was happening to her. Regan has gone on to do more genre work in the films They, Hollow Man 2, and Dead Silence, and a lot of television. O'Reilly, Johnson, Skye, Lemche, and Regan play the 5 contestants, but 2 other characters show up as the story goes on. Nick Manel, who would later be killed by Michael Myers in Rob Zombie's Halloween, and Jason Voorhees in Platinum Dunes Friday the 13th plays a cop. Oh, and Bradley Cooper, who has since been nominated for many Oscars, makes a brief appearance as Travis, a guy who says he got lost while skiing through the forest. But can he be trusted? See, that's the problem in this place. It's never clear who you can trust. Knowing it wouldn't be interesting to show the 6 months the characters spend in the house, Evans and the writers jump straight to the final week. That's when everything starts to fall apart. The furnace breaks down, food isn't being delivered anymore. It seems like a stalker might be lurking around the edge of the forest. A message left on a frosty window and a bloody hammer on a pillow reference a traumatic incident from Emma's past. Danny receives a devastating letter from home. The outsider Travis says he's never even heard of this webcast. A supply delivery contains nothing but a gun and some bullets. Is it taunting Rex about his father's suicide? Is it the company trying to drive the contestants out of the house so they won't have to pay them? Would the company go as far as to kill them? Filming on My Little Eye took place in Nova Scotia throughout the months of March and April in 2001, with sets being built inside an abandoned leisure center. In order to achieve the webcast look, the movie was shot on mini DV camcorders. And since the house is meant to have cameras all over the place, much like the Big Brother house, there were around 8 cameras covering each scene. So once Evans was in the editing room, any moment would have 8 angles to choose from, and he could pick which angles he thought a webcast viewer would click on. As he put together the sound design, another filmmaker became a source of inspiration, David Lynch. Because as Evans puts it, quote, Lynch just knows how to put you in this place that's really strange that you've never been to before, with a masterful use of sound. He was a big influence. End quote. The sound was recorded normally, then beat up in post-production. The aim was to get the movie as close to a 90-minute running time as possible. Evans wanted it to be the cinematic equivalent of a trash metal single. Short, effective, and nasty. But it proved to be very difficult to get the film down to 90 minutes. The first rough cut was over 4 hours long, and Evans started to lose confidence in the film as he went through the editing process. So working title suggested holding a test screening in LA. Unfortunately, that screening was held on September 11th, 2001. And understandably, the test results were terrible. Nothing was going to go over well with an audience on 9/11, especially not something like that. For a while, the companies behind My Little Eye didn't know what to do with the movie.
I pity you, you sad fuck.
It was so dark and unnerving. Was there any place for it in a post 9/11 movie market? It looked like it might have to go straight to video. But then they found distributor Momentum Pictures, which believed in the film and wanted to give it a full theatrical release. And when a woman had a panic attack at a festival screening in Scotland, that just made it clear that Momentum had made a great decision when they acquired this movie. Made on a budget of $3 million, My Little Eye earned $9 million during its theatrical run. So it was a solid success, and when Universal brought it to DVD, they did some interesting things with it. An audio track called Conversations of the Company allowed viewers to eavesdrop on what members of the company are saying to each other throughout the film. In a UK release, viewers could choose to watch a version of the film that was presented as if it was being viewed on the company-run website. The interactive mode even lets you see certain scenes from multiple different angles. This includes the Travis and Charlie sex scene, so it proved to be a popular option for some viewers. It's cool that there's a company audio track and an interactive website version of the movie, but My Little Eye didn't need those gimmicks or enhancements to be entertaining and intriguing. Evans put a lot of effort into creating a dark and unsettling atmosphere for his movie, and it paid off. When you're watching My Little Eye, the imagery and sound really make you feel like you're in the house with the contestants, stuck in the middle of nowhere, and with something dangerous lurking just outside. Evans and the writers did a wonderful job building up this paranoia, and the cast did great work bringing their characters to life. Now, that's not to say that all of the characters themselves are great. Some of them definitely could have been given more depth and made more interesting, but we still get drawn into the situation and we want to see them come out of it okay. And if they don't all come out of it okay, there's some expendable ones that we wouldn't mind seeing be removed from the story anyway. As mentioned, Chris Lemche is awesome in this movie, making Rex the most fun character of the bunch to watch. While Emma worries about her past, Danny and Matt hang around being bland, and Charlie does her horny girl wants fame thing. Rex tries to keep things under control as long as possible in hopes of getting his money, and when things start getting too strange, it's Rex who's able to start figuring out exactly what's going on. Rex is the MVP of these contestants, but the standout sequence of the film is the appearance by Bradley Cooper. Paranoia is already running high by the time his character Travis shows up at the door. Things have been getting increasingly uncomfortable in the house, and then this guy arrives, saying he got lost skiing. His GPS died and he's not sure how to get back to his truck. Now it's dark out and he needs shelter. So the contestants take him in, and he soon reveals that he's never heard of the webcast that they're supposedly on, even though he's a programmer who says he lives on the internet when he's not out skiing in the middle of nowhere. This gets the contestants more worried than they already were. Travis, on the other hand, seems surprisingly at ease. He quickly sets out to seduce Charlie, which is not a challenge, and not only do the cameras everywhere not bother him, he even gives them suspicious looks. And when he speaks directly to one of the cameras the following morning, that's when it becomes very clear.
I told you I could fuck her.
There's something bad going on here. Bradley Cooper is only in the movie for around 9 minutes, but the character does make an impact. My Little Eye makes for an impactful viewing experience overall, even if you don't remember the details of what happens in it. I mean, beyond the fact that people get murdered somehow by someone. The imagery and atmosphere can stick with you for years though. Mark Evans took the concept and made it into a very effective psychological thriller, and its success saved his directing career. He's continued working steadily since this movie was released in 2002, bouncing back and forth between feature films and episodes of TV. He has more projects lined up, making their way through pre-production, and it's all because of My Little Eye, aka the best horror movie you never saw.